you download them. If you don't know how to grab the slides, please type your questions on the chat window and let us know. And this meeting is recorded, and the link will be available on our VC virtual chapter website. The link, we will post the link later. And let me go through the past chapter news, committee news. As you know already, PASS has many virtual chapters, and ours is called 7 and 9 SQL. Please join us if you can, so we can share the meetings and information with you via emails. Also, there are many virtual chapter meetings available. Feel free to attend one of them or many of them. And upcoming SQL Saturdays, this is a very good session. Well, there are some in North America as well as international. And also, you may want to join a local chapter for face-to-face networking and any other benefits. Also, PASS need volunteers, and if you are interested, please visit this website, volunteer.sqlpass.org to be one of the and stay involved. And now I would like to introduce Jimmy Wong, who is our speaker today. Jimmy is the Principal Program Manager for SQL Server Integration Service team. I'm sure you already know his talk. And Jimmy, I will transfer the screen to you in a second.
Okay, thank you. So when you transfer the screen, how do I share? Oh, okay, show my screen. Right.
Yeah, you can show your screen.
Okay. Can you see my screen right now?
Not yet. Maybe. Yes, I can see it now.
Okay, you can see now. Okay, good. I would like to first thanks for the opportunity for me to be here to present for this group. I know it is a weekend evening, and I really appreciate your time to make for this meeting today. And yeah, again, my name is Jimmy Wong. I am the program manager for the SSIS product. And so I have, I think in the last 3-4 weeks, I've been traveling around in various conferences like SQL PASS, MVP Summit, Ignite Australia, to talk about what's news in the SQL Server 2016 integration services. I'm so excited actually to give all this talk because I have a lot to talk about. So basically, with that said, I will start presenting the content, and then yeah, at the end of the session, if you have any questions, please post your questions on the text message box, or we can have a talk later as well. Okay, so let's get started. So for SSIS 2016, we actually have been focusing on 3 things, or 3 areas, to be more exact. One is the manageability, connectivities, and usability and productivity. And why? Why we are focusing on these 3 areas? How do we make the call, right? Because I know the more I talk to customers, partner, ISV, the more I know, there are a lot of requests for different things, right? Or there may be a lot of feature ask in the last few years, right? So how do we make the call? Actually, before we decided what to do, we did quite a lot of research with the customers, with the partner and ISVs, to basically talk about what's their need, what's their pain point, etc. And we also did survey as well. We do one customer discussion and kind of gather all the pieces of information. And we also talk to our CSS support as well. So any of the issue that your company may have filed, and they may be servicing as one of the top CSS lists, and therefore they may actually be in our radar for tracking. So and basically among all of these information and data that we collect, then we have to basically handpick and select based on priority, based on the demand, things like that. And while I'm so excited that there are lots of features or improvement that we have done in the upcoming SSIS 2016, I'm sure there will be something that we haven't got a chance to adjust yet, and it's okay, and that's why I'm here to basically to hear your feedback as well. So at the end of the session, if you hear things like things you were expecting but you don't see in this session, please let me know, so that my job is to basically collect feedbacks from the field and then kind of figure out what to do in the next step. So okay, so yeah, so those are the three focus areas, and I kind of talk about how we decided what to do. Now let's look at some of these areas in a bit details, right? Manageability. We actually try to do better on the manageability on also three sub area, right? One is on the deployment side, on the debugging side, and on the package management side. Okay, and I'm gonna go through some of these one by one. Okay, and like for example, project deployment, right? This is like a CTP2 feature that for those of you who have been using SSIS 2012, you will be you may actually use the project model, right, that we introduced in 2012. Now, one of the caveat of the project model is that when you change one of the package, you have no choice but have to redeploy the whole project when you have to deploy the changes, right? And that's the feedback that we hear consistently from the field and from CSS. And what we have done in this release is we give you incremental deployment option, where you can handpick one or more packages within a project and you can deploy to it. Okay, so you no longer need to deploy like a whole project anymore, right? Even if you just change one package or so. Now, so that's kind of the a feature that we released for a while, right? So we don't have a slide for that. But for new things such as always on support, we also release it in the CTP2 timeframe, and we actually refresh and update it based on the customer feedback around CTP3. Okay, SSIS 2000 actually SQL Server 2012, right, introduced the always on support, right, for giving you the high availability support on SQL Server. But since then we don't have a official support for the SSIS database. Okay, and there has been some blog on MSDN or some discussion on MSDN about how you can manually set up the always on support for SSIS DB, but there is some caveat and a lot of manual steps, and it's very error prone. And there are also some drawback with the approach, especially when you try to update with an SP, then you lose all the high availability group again, things like that. Okay, so in the SSIS 2016, we're gonna solve the problem officially. That would means that you're gonna get the full always-on support for SSIS DB. Indeed, we make it the flow very easy to use. You don't really need to do much in terms of manual setup or fill in the stuff. You basically get the setup kind of like through the kind of wizard experience. So basically, it's very easy to set it up. And most importantly is we already have some TAP customers that already try to set the always-on support on the SSIS farm, the cluster of server. And the feedback was like it works well. So if you need high availability, that's the feature that you need. You will want to try for the 2016 of SSIS. Now, the next thing, I'm going to ask a question to kind of inspire you to think. I'm not expecting any response. I know everyone is muted. But try to imagine how many times have you tried to debug an ETL error or the SSIS error? And how many times have you tried to open the data viewer, okay, and then see the error column ID, like maybe like a 10, 20, 13, but you don't know exactly what this error column name is, and which makes you, pretty hard to figure out, okay, where the error is coming from. Okay, yes, the error column ID is one of the ways that allows you to basically reverse engineering back to figure out what is the error column. But then it's not that easy, right? If for those of you in this call who have tried to reverse engineer, you may have to write code, you have to kind of look things up. It is not that simple and easy, and most importantly, it costs a lot of time, very time-consuming process, right? And we hear you, and so what we have added this error column name support is to basically solve this problem. You no longer need to look up the error column ID. We're going to figure out programmatically for you, and we're going to display it directly in the data viewer. We're going to display it also directly in the log. Okay, we also allow you, we have API that allows you to programmatically to retrieve the error column name if you pass in the ID as a parameter. Okay, so you have different ways to do it. So no matter you now just try to debug it through the designer, you can use the data viewer. And if you try to just look at the log, or you may have internal system that pulls the log, now you can get the ID from the log as well. And if you actually even do more scripting around your log and do, in terms of analysis, you can actually achieve that as well programmatically. So now we have different ways for you to get that error column name. So you don't have to guess, you don't have to spend any more time to figure out where my error column, where the error occurs in what column. You can get it like right away like that. So that's also something that we improve based on feedback. Now, another thing that I hope you are clapping your hands or smiling when you look at this slide, because again, this is what we hear from the field a lot. Couple things: customized logging level and log reader role. Logging level. Well, we've been shipping logging level kind of the same, right? There are 4 kind of built-in logging level, right? The basic, the performance one, the verbose one, etc. But we hear a lot of feedback that, hey, the verbose one is too many information, and it may affect my performance as well. Now, if I do the basic one, it's too simple, okay? And how I want to have something kind of in the middle. What can I do about it? And in the past, you can't really do much about it unless you really, do your own log extension and do your own log. But now, we introduced this customized logging level feature where you can just go to the SSMS, the Management Studio, under the SSIS DB, you can kind of click on the customized logging level, and it will launch a new window. Now, within this new window, you have the ability to basically create, edit, and delete your customized logging level. And I will, if I have time, I will actually show you in one of the demo as well to see how it works. But it should be pretty straightforward. You can select different events that you want to log or different statistics that you want to log, and you can do a lot of things with that as well. And so now you no longer need to worry about what logging level, whether it's appropriate or not. You may create a really in-depth logging level for manual debugging. But for your day-to-day run, you may create your own customized logging level and then apply to the package, so that based on your need, you can have different level of logging. Now the log reader role is another thing. It's very easy to do, but unfortunately this is the time that we introduce it. We could have introduced it earlier, but here it comes. Some customers say it's better to be late than never, right? So log reader role is the role that we added to allow you to grant user access to the log or the basically the SSIS log in the SSMS in the catalog. And in the past, right, if you need to grant someone to see the package log, you have no choice but have to grant them the DB admin role, the DBA role. Otherwise, they can't see other people packages log. Okay, and this is extremely painful for the segregation of duty, right? Where you want some developer or even someone to oversee all the logs, but you don't want that person to have DB admin. But now you have this log reader role that you can assign to that user for accessing all the log, but yet is not a DB admin person. So this is also one of the asks by the field, and now we are doing it for our customer partner and ISVs. Package template. First of all, don't be the name may be changed because we've been in the past few months we've been hearing different suggestions and feedback how we call this name called package template, or should we call it package part? But what is it really? It's basically just a functionality or capability for you to save part of your package logic, okay, as a template or as a part, okay, and then you can reuse it in other packages. Okay, this is something that will try to allow you to save a lot of time for maintenance as well as for development. Now here is some scenario that we are looking at, right? For example, sometimes you may have hundreds of packages, and some of these packages may use certain logic or similar logic. Okay. Now, what we learn from some customers is sometimes when they create these similar packages, they have to basically copy and paste a lot of these similar logic into hundreds of packages that applies, which is okay to them. That's still not the biggest pain point. The biggest pain point comes when they have to do maintenance. Right? For example, when business logic or when the business logic change or business requirement change that require you to change your ETL process, and maybe the change happens on the kind of like a similar package logic, which kind of the same for the rest of the hundreds of packages. Now, you have no choice in the past that you have to basically open package one by one to change it and then save it and then test it, okay? That's pretty time consuming. With the package template feature, you can basically extract this common logic out as what we call package template, and then you can reference it, you can have other package to reference to it, okay? So that now you can even divide your IT development team into two teams. Like what some of the developer can focus on package development, some of the developer can focus on the template development, right? And then the package developer can reference to the template when the template is ready. Okay, so now you can have a much better way to control the development and also to control or to manage the package in a much easier way for code reuse. So that's what it is, and I'm going to show you more examples in the demo as well. So so if you have questions, please ask it now, or you can actually wait to see the demo, and then you can ask more questions, right? Because I know a lot of people are very interested in these features. All right. The next one is the automatic max buffer size in data flow task. Now, let me ask the question for you to think. How many of you actually are aware of the default buffer size and the default buffer max rows in the data flow task, right, as a property? Now, if you are aware of these two properties value, how many of you have actually changed the value? Okay. If you have changed the value, how many of you knows whether the value that you change is the right value or is the optimized value? And if you get to any answer of no, I don't really know, or yeah, I never touched this value, I don't know what's that for, and it's okay. It's actually not everyone needs to touch this value, but if you need to maximize your some of the performance, such as say you have like an OLADB destination where you want to maximize the performance with it, sometimes you may have to touch this value, and we hear a lot of people when they really need to try to optimize the performance, and when they read the documentation about this value, they don't know exactly what to set it, especially on the buffer size part. Okay. Now the max buffer row, yeah, you can define how many rows you want to handle in a batch, but the buffer size part is kind of tricky, right? So we hear you, and in this new release, we added this new property called auto adjust buffer size, as you can see in the screen. Is set to false by default. That means this value will not affect any of your existing stuff, even when you upgrade to 2016. Okay, it won't change anything. But now, if you, in case you need it, you have an option to either manually set it, or you can let the SSIS engine or runtime to handle that for you. Okay. Now, and it's really easy as it appears. You just, if you want the runtime to handle to figure out what's the right buffer size for you, you just set this property from false to true. Okay, and what it means is when this is true, then the runtime will figure out the buffer size based on the default buffer max row that you input, right, during the design time, and then it will calculate the row size during the runtime, and then at that time it will figure out what's the right buffer size needed, and it can go as high as up to 2 GB minus 1, which is significantly much larger than in the past. I think we limited to 10 megabyte or 100 megabytes in the previous release. So no matter what you change in the previous release for the default buffer size, there is a runtime limit that blocks you at like a 10 megabyte or 100 megabytes. But now you don't have that limit. So we tested this feature, like especially on the OLADB destination, and we see a pretty significant improvement, especially when you also use the column store in SQL Server as well. So net is that I won't be able to spend too much time to really talk about or give you a introduction 101 on buffer size and buffer max row. There's MSDN available, but what I can tell you is that, hey, if you ever need to look at the performance side, like performance improvement of your ETL process, if you ever need to consider changing these numbers, now there's one more option for you. Okay, there's an option for you now to automatically figure it out. You don't worry about it. Or if you feel very comfortable on setting the right buffer size and the row size, do it yourself too is okay. So just another options for making your life easier every day. All right. Now, we talk about a whole bunch of improvement on manageability. Now let's look at the connectivity side. We have done quite a few things in the connectivity side on premises as well as on the cloud. Hold on a sec. The slide has been not kind of jumping around, so let me kind of okay. So on the on-premises side, I will go through some of that in more details, but you can kind of take a look at the high level, right? We have done a lot of on-premise connectivity on Hadoop, on Excel. We will support Excel 2013-16. We have added the OData v4 support. We have done the Teradata. We will do the Teradata and Oracle update as kind of around the same time as the 2016 RTM. And we also now have tested an end-to-end scenario for using how to use the execute SQL task to operationalize an outscript in SQL Server. Okay, so that's some of the connectivity on premises that we can do now in 2016. Now on the cloud side, we also have the Hadoop on the cloud, like the HDInsight connectors, as well as the Azure storage. Okay, so let's look at some of this in a lot bit more detail and try to understand what are some of the scenarios that can enable you to do that you will never be able to do before. For the Azure storage connector, so why do we need an Azure storage connector? Okay, let's look at a few situations. Let's say your company is on premises, okay, 100% on premises in the past. That's a pretty traditional setup in many enterprises. Now, with the businesses change, you now may have websites, you may have other partners' data that exists on the cloud for you to access. You may also run into a question within your company, hey, how can we reduce costs for your IT? Can we leverage the cloud technology for some of the IT, not all, right? And so we did a research in the last 9 months, and what we see is that there is a trend for the SSIS customer to go into, I would say, 4 different categories. Okay, category 1 is that they were going to stay on premise 100%. Okay, no changes, at least for the next 2 to 3 years. Okay, that's category 1. Category 2 is that they're going to consider the big data on premises solution. What I mean, what does that mean? What I mean is that they will continue to use SSIS, but then some of the financial company or bank, things like that, they may have to start building a Hadoop system in-house on premises to do some big data type of processing. For example, they may have to process the transaction log, for a stock exchange. They may have to process a bank transaction or money transfer transaction to figure out fraud, to figure out risk, things like that, right? And so within those companies, they will have actually 2 systems. One is on-premise Hadoop, and one is the traditional SSIS ETL process. And the question comes for these category 2 customers, how can I integrate these together so that I can have one integrated system, right? Now, the category 3 is very similar to category 2 customers. Category 3 is basically a customer group that they use SSIS as ETL, but now they started to consider using the cloud services for some part of their data processing. For example, especially for that company that has website or a lot of web log. Okay, maybe an online clothing company. They want to process a lot of customer, click view numbers, their search keywords, their behavior on the website, to figure out what's the right thing to do for them, or what would be a good product to recommend to these customers. Now, they have a lot of these raw, what we call web data. Is raw, right? Never got filtered, no transformation, lots of that amount of that, okay? If they want to move all this data to on-premises before they process the data, it's a bit too costly, okay? Now, for those customers, they are actually seeking solutions such as, hey, can I process it on the cloud, okay? And I only will get the result or aggregated result back to on-premises for reporting or for further analysis, okay? To them, that saves a lot of times in terms of transferring the data, right? Because transfer data has a cost in terms of monetary as well as the time as well, right? So that's the kind of like the category 3 type of customer, that they are open to the cloud, but they don't want to do everything on the cloud. They would use the cloud service whenever it makes sense for a new business requirement, right? Now, the category 4 will be someone that we call it lift and shift customer, right? They say, oh, you know what? Our company policy is going to the cloud. We're going to move everything to the cloud, including SSIS, okay? And what can I do about it? All right. Now, in the SSIS 2016 release, we're going to focus on number 1, number 2, and number 3 category, okay? Number 4 category, we believe that we need more time to figure out the right solution for customer in terms of running SSIS on the cloud 100%, or solving customer the 100% cloud need, right? So let's look at the 1, 2, and 3. Okay. For 1, we talk about we have the for people on premises 100% on the cloud. We know we have like the Excel connector, the OData connector, the Teradata and Oracle connector that will allow you to connect to more different sources or different type of sources. Now, the cloud side, we have this Azure storage connector, and we have the Hadoop connector. Why? It's because now you can enable a truly hybrid scenario. Okay. First, we have this Azure storage connector. So now your SSIS has the ability to move data from your on-premises to the cloud, to your Azure Blob Storage. Now, once the data gets to the Azure Blob Storage, you can open million possibilities, right? You can, trigger your Azure ML to grab the data and do a machine learning model on the Azure. You can trigger a Hadoop job to process the data, and then or even combine with other web data from your on-premises data, and then do the compute and then get the result. Okay, so now your SSIS become not only your ETL on-premises, but can also be a data prep, for example, tool for your and to prepare the data, to anonymize data, to cleanse your data before it moves to the cloud. And once it's in the cloud, then it can get picked up by other cloud compute process or other services, and to do more things. Okay, and it's often when once you finish with all these cloud compute or cloud services, you have some result. Okay, either a log or either an aggregated result. Usually it gets stored back into the Azure Blob Storage too. Okay, so what can we do? Now you can also have SSIS, a destination task that you can, or source task, depending on how you use it, to basically take the Azure Blob as a source and then move it to an on-premise destination, such as an OLADB destination. Okay, so now you have this end-to-end flow for moving the data around between your on-premises to cloud back to on-premises. And the HDFS connector basically does the same thing. Okay, it allows you to, instead of talking about the cloud, it allows you to move the data on premises on your Windows file system, such as or from your relational DB, and then you can output it, do some cleansing, do some transformation, do some anonymization, and then output it as a file to a HDFS destination. Now your data is in a file format in HDFS and it's ready for your Hadoop on-premises process to be kicked off. You can have Hive script to process the data, okay? And then once the data is done, the result will be stored back into HDFS. Now you can do a retrieval of these the files in HDFS and then move it back to your other destination. You can move it back as a file. You can move it back with some transformation and map it to an Olay DB destination or some other destination as well that you want. Okay, that again address the category number 2 customers, which you basically, can have an end-to-end data movement between your SSIS ETL process to the Hadoop and then back from Hadoop to your SSIS. Now, when I give the example of this end-to-end data movement, I mentioned a few times about Hadoop, I mentioned a few times about HDInsight. Because what we know is it's often when you move the data to the cloud or to HDFS on-premise, you want to do something more. And the most common thing you want to do is you want to leverage this big data compute power to do maybe a Hive query. You may even want to combine your data with other raw data and then do an aggregation, things like that. So in SSIS 2016, we introduced 2 tasks, an HDInsight task and a Hadoop task that allow you to also trigger or orchestrate a Hadoop or Hive job or a pick job. Now this is where it helps you to complete its end-to-end, right? You have Hadoop, you have an Azure Blob connector, move the data, or HDFS data connector to move the data to the destination you want on Hadoop system, either on-premise or cloud. Then you can use SSIS to tell, oh, the data now is ready. So your control flow in the SSIS next step, you know what? Kick off the Hive script or the Hive job. Okay. Then your Hive job can process the data, do all sort of computing. When it's done, your Hive job can specify to put it back into certain location. Now you can have the SSIS again, the Azure Blob connector or the HDFS connector to grab that result and then put it somewhere else or in different format, different location, right? So that's your real end-to-end hybrid or on-premise big data processing flow that now you will be able to do in the SSIS 2016. Okay. So OData v4, I briefly talked about it. Again, we support OData v3 in the past. So supporting OData v4 is not, something that surprising. But then one thing we did improvement on is we actually try to show you or auto detect the version of your OData feed, because the OData feed looks similar, right? When you have the URL, it looks very similar. And sometimes as a developer, you may not aware of, okay, is it from the v3 feed or is it from the v4 feed? Especially when some OData feed provider, they may have 2 feed available for different for different purpose, and you want to make sure that you are connecting to the right feed, right? So on the OData source editor UI, now we actually show you the OData source protocol version, so that it allows you to just makes it easier for you to figure out what would be the right thing to do or to use. I mean, all right. Last but not least, on the usability side and the productivity side, we did a lot of things to try to make things faster as well. The faster designer experience, faster install experience, and faster management studio experience. Number one, we are going to introduce a multi-version support for the SSIS DT designer. Okay, for those of you who are using maybe or who are managing different SSIS version, you will know that you actually need to have specific version of VS and the SSDTPI to manage a particular version of the SSIS. Like let's say if you are using SSIS 2014, you need a VS 2013 plus the SSDTPI. If you are using the SSIS 2012, you need a different version of VS plus the SSIS DTPI, etc. Right? And this is extremely painful for customers maintaining multiple versions within the company, as well as consultants. Right? Consultants, they have different clients. Different clients may have different version of SSIS, and consultant that laptop needs to now have multiple things installed in order to support different version of SSIS. And the worst case is you can't use the latest version of VS, right? When you say you're developing on VS 2012, then you can only use a VS 2012 or 2010, and you can't really leverage all the new stuff on the VS 2015 unless your company get 2 VS version. And then again, even your company has it, you still have to side by side install it, right? So the multi-version support is going to solve that problem. You're going to have one, you just need to install one SSDT designer or SSIS designer, and then you can audit, author, edit, execute, debug different version of your SSIS packages. And this support is going to be on SSIS 2012, 2014, and 2016, and later if we have new version. We don't support 2008 or 2005. That's by design because we want there's some quite architectural difference, as well as it's also a little bit old in terms of the support as well. Now, we also mentioned about the one thing I haven't touched on is the unified installation for SSDT. So in the past, you have SSDT, you have the SSDTPI, and you have the language SKU that you need to install, etc., for the script task or component. Now, we try to make this simple for you. We move all the IS, AS, and RS installer to SSDT. So you no longer, the SSDTPI SKU is no longer exists anymore. So all you need to do right now is go download the SSDT, and you'll get the IS, AS, and RS. You no longer need to download another SSDTPI component. Okay, so that's kind of make your installation a bit easier and faster. We also did a whole bunch of designer improvement in terms of addressing some of the issues in the past, also making things faster. And the catalog view, if you ever use it in SSMS, we also now improve some of the view loading time. It makes it, I think when we benchmark it, it's about 5 to 20 times faster. So there are a whole bunch of things that we are doing around that front as well to make it easy for the day-to-day usage experience. So this is the SSIS 2016 at a glance, okay? From the manageability side, connectivity side, and usability side. And as you can see, we don't just focus on addressing some improvement and that's it. We don't just focusing on all the new stuff, but forget about the improvement. We actually look at the SSIS very seriously, and we want to basically make forward movement on both fronts, right? We want to make the existing customer happy, and that's why a lot of our features is based on customer feedback and customer and improvement for the customers. Now, on the other hand, we also want to get our customer gear up to be ready for the new trend, right? In terms of the cloud side, in terms of the big data side, and that's just the beginning. Okay, we're gonna probably do more. Okay, and so what will we want to do? At this time, we have an idea, but we haven't fixed it yet. So if you have any feedback, hey, what's the next, now you learn about what's news in SSI 2016. So that would mean that you know what's there and you know what is not there. So I would like to invite you to take this opportunity to let me know, hey, what you like the most, okay, from what you see so far, what are we missing, what would you like us to invest in the future, so anything, please share with me, and I take feedback pretty seriously. And for those of you who have known me in other, like in Yama Group or in other occasion or in the conferences, I usually take customer feedback very, very seriously, and then try to do as much. And sometimes my engineering team always yell at me and say, hey, yeah, too many stuff you're asking, but that's my job. So please do share your feedback with me at the end of the session, and if we don't have time today, I'll always we can set up like a follow-up or things like that to have a deeper conversation. All right, so that's it on the presentation side, and I know, do I have more time? Can I do I have another 5 to 10 minutes?
Sure, Jimmy.
Okay, if yes, then I can do a demo. Is that okay?
Yes, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Can you see my demo machine with SSIS Designer?
Yes.
Okay. So this is a test package, or one of the test package that we use in-house to kind of simulate a scenario. Okay. Now, let's say we are an insurance company right now. Okay. And in the insurance company, sometimes you will have a call center department, okay, where customers will call the call center and file claims. Maybe they have a car accident. They will call and file a claim. Maybe they have a medical insurance that they want to claim, okay, or get pre-authorized, okay. So there's a call center, and that takes the call every day, and the call frequency is pretty big as well, okay. Now, usually this call center will generate certain log, okay, or the call log, okay, and so that's one part. Now, another part is in an insurance company, it uses a relational DB, so it stores all the customer data or information. Okay, so that's another part that we have customers' information stored in a SQL database, for example. Okay, now what we want to do here is we want to figure out, hey, if there is any customer or potential customers that are at a high fraudulent risk, meaning that, hey, we want to figure out if any customers are trying to file like false claim. Okay, what do we do it? I mean, what's the index? One index to figure that out is, hey, how frequent certain people is calling the call center for a claim, right? If someone is calling car accident 3 times in a week, or maybe 3 times in a month, okay, that sounds a bit too much. Okay, then we may have to put a red flag on it, right, to make sure that, hey, nothing, and we can do some internal investigation and to make sure that we don't lose money, right, as the insurance company. Okay, so that's kind of the scenario. So on this dialog, basically this dialog is to copy the log from the HDFS side. And let me show you the log. So these are just an example of some transactional log. Okay. Obviously, we make this up, and in different times, different people call in, and we track this log by the policy ID, right? and things like that, and the amount that they are tracking, the customer ID, okay? And we're gonna have, say, many of these logs every day, okay? Now, let's say our process right now is doing it, for these 4 days, okay? But it can be extended to, we can do this process once every month, so you can have like around 30 files, or once every quarter, you can have about 120 files with many, many of the entries, right? Now, and then here is just a typical OLE DB source where, let me actually show it to you. And I'm using the CTP3 for demo, by the way. And so, my DB has some problems. But basically, this OLE DB source is actually trying to get all the policy information from the relational DB to a conditional speed and then put it in the HDFS destination. Okay, and my previous, call center log, I actually are doing the same thing. I'm getting the call center log file. I'm doing some cleansing of the data, and if there's error, I will put it in the error log. And if the successful one or the complete data, I'll put it in the HDFS destination. Now, why this is important is because sometimes we learn from our customer that sometimes call center or other system in the company, not all the data are perfect. Okay, they may miss some data or maybe manual issues, and so they need to have a process to filter out the bad data, right? So that they don't have to keep breaking the ETL process. So that's what we also want to do here. Okay, and then now from these packages, you notice that I have something new called Hive Template. What this Hive Template does is basically I'm grouping like a series of control flow and put it in a container, basically. I put like the control flow tasks such as the Hadoop file system task, the Hadoop Hive task, and transform task. I put them together. Why? Okay, because I believe that, hey, if this task is using Hadoop, I may have other packages that can also use Hadoop. Now, I can have these Hadoop tasks to kind of, the 3 tasks to be all located in different package A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Or if I put it in a template, then I can keep reusing again and again. Now, of course, when I have that thinking, I need to basically design the template specifically for a sharing model, right? So I will have to think about, okay, how I should use allow the package A or B to use the same Hadoop task generically, of course, right? That means I have to say, in order for me to use this generic Hadoop task, I have to tell this template that I need to specify where the Hive job is, right? The Hive script is. Okay, so that could be something like a parameters that I need to pass in. Okay, and then I need to make sure that each different package will call different Hive script. Okay, what can I do about it? Maybe I can put all these Hive script in different subfolder, right? Maybe I can create a folder, and then the subfolder say package A Hive script. The folder, another folder, subfolder called package B Hive script, and within this folder, I can put Hive script specifically for different packages. Oh, okay. Now in that case, that infrastructure can allow me to generically build a template that can take maybe a folder path input so that my package can reference to it. So that's how I build this template, Hive template. Here I basically have certain properties for the location of where the Hive script is. So different package can specify different parameters of this property so that they can say, oh, package A call the package A folder for the HQL script. Package B called the package B folder. Now this is just an example. You can do it whatever you want, right? You can do it, you can make it, everything has one folder, but you can have different file name. That's up to you, okay? The fact that I want to point out is when you think about a template development, you have to think about how people can reuse your template, what parameters or properties important, and then try to expose that. Now you see that I double click this template configuration dialog. On the left hand side, you see all the properties are exposed. Okay, so that means that within a template, you can configure any properties that you want to pass into the from the package and pass it to the template. Okay, so that's how the package talk to the template and tell what value or what to do for the template. Okay, and yeah, so basically this Hive template that we created here basically is first you tell me where I get the Hive script, okay? Because different package can have different can run different Hive script. So tell me where it is. I will grab it, and then I will trigger the Hive script to execute on a Hadoop, and then I will do some transformation as well, and I will call another Hive script, and then that will generate the result and output back to here is another from an HDFS source to an OLADB destination. Okay, and that's kind of what this package is doing. Okay, so let me kick off these things, and then when it runs, we purposely make 3 errors in the raw transactional log data. And now when you see, when I open the data viewer, I will see error code, okay, and this is the error column that I refer to, which is 10, 20, 13. We don't know what it means. The last column here, it wasn't exist before, and that's the new feature about the error column name support. Okay, if we see this error column name, then we can actually see now. Oh, okay, error column 22 actually refer to the approved column. Error column 13 actually refer to the claim ID column. Error column 10 refers to the date column, etc. Okay, so now you don't have to reverse lookup. Looking at that, you can immediately know, oh, okay, there's a column that I can directly go to the log and then know exactly what's the data that's missing. Okay, so let me now close it. It will still process. Now, let me spend some time while it's processing and on the template side. As you can see, in order to support this new feature template, we added this control flow template as a folder. Again, the name may be changed, but the concept is the same. Now, when I right-click on it, you have 2 options. You can create your own control flow template, and when you double-click on the new control flow template, you will go into a template designer view. Okay, where you can drag and drop a control flow, etc. And then you'll also see the template 1 is also being created underneath this control flow template. Okay. Now, you can also add existing template. What it means is, let's say you just want to use someone else's template within your company. Now you can go click add, and then you can select the template path. Okay. Either someone expose it as a file somewhere in a shared folder, or you can, and when you access to the location, you can have 2 options. One option is, just grab that template and then include it as part of your project, kind of like a copy over. Now, or if you don't want to copy over, you can actually check this checkbox called add as reference, and you can actually add the template as a reference. So you are not adding the template as part of your project, but rather as a reference. So so basically when the other template is changed, when you compile and redeploy, you will get the same update. Okay, so there's 2 options for you here. And after you create a template, you will see that on the toolbox, it will show up on your on the template subfolder. Okay. Now this is a perfect scenario that I mentioned before, where you can now have some developer focusing on the template development and some developer focusing on the package development. And if they work on the same project, when a new template is ready, the package developer can just go to the toolbox and access it, right, like that. Okay, and you can basically drag and drop like a template, just like any task. Okay. I know we are running out of time, so that's kind of like a quick overview of actually, before I end, let me try to see if I can show you one more thing. Yeah, I think I can't because something wrong with my SQL Server here. So, if I right click on the integration services, I didn't build a catalog here yet, but if I right click on it, then you can actually do the customized logging setup. That's also something I was trying to do, but I don't know what happened to this machine. I'm really sorry about that, because demos always have something goes wrong. So I guess this is the one. But anyways, I hope that actually the script is still processing here, but that's kind of all what I can show you so far. And maybe at this time I can take some questions due to the time.
Oh, thank you very much, Jimmy. This is Debbie. They have a
Debbie?
questions. Yeah, remember we met at the past. Yeah. They have something questions here. First of all, from questions from Adams. He have questions about would auto adjust butterfly. There's a buffer size feature increase pre-validation time during running time.
Would auto adjust buffer size. It actually won't increase that much because it's actually we don't see any significant impact on the performance.
Okay, and the other question is, have any improvements or enhancements on data warehouse loading? For example, SSIS type 2 dimension loading is quite slow if using SSIS. Yeah.
And for this release, we did not have any improvement around those areas. And if you have specific issues with the performance, say you are trying to do certain things and certain things perform really slow in certain condition, I would suggest you email me or let me know later so that I can follow up whether it's a bug or it's something that we can do as a performance overall. But we don't have any specific improvement on those tasks in this release due to priority and limited resource.
Okay, thank you. And also the questions is from can you migrate a single SSIS package only?
Can you migrate a single SSIS package only? What do you mean by that? Because they migrate from one version, from an older version to the new version, or what does that mean?
Yeah, I don't know. Can the person who posed the questions? Yeah.
Yeah. I have unmute you, so if you like to rephrase your question.
And the other question is about the package template. Will change in templates automatically reflects in packages which is using the template?
Yeah, that's a lot. That's the question that audience asks a lot. At this time, you will only get the update when you recompile your packages. Okay. Like let's say someone changed the template, and then if you don't comply and we deploy your package, you're not getting the update. Okay, and that was like kind of like a design decision, right? I think we hear some customers say, hey, yeah, don't don't change it automatically because they want to track all the changes, right? So only change it when we approve it. That would mean that even though the template keeps changing, or maybe the template has a new version, okay, but before they finish testing it, they don't want the package that reference to the template get all these updates, okay? So the template, should be isolated. Whatever we deploy we deploy at a certain version, all the logic should remain the same, regardless of how frequently the template get updated. When they need to port over the update, we compile and then build and then we deploy. Okay, so that's one voice. Now another voice is we hear also is, hey, there's someone changed the template. I want to be able to auto update so I don't have to worry about it. Okay, so whenever I change the template, the package should get the latest update. Okay, now and so at this point we choose the approach one because a lot of enterprises they want to have more control and they want to be aware of all the changes. But we are actually trying to learn more from our customers, partners, ISVs to see, what about option two? Is option two more favorable? Then we may have to do something about it too as well. But at this point, we only support option one, which is if the template change, it won't get auto update. You will have to compile to get the changes.
Okay, thank you. Does anybody have a questions? Please
Jamie, I have a few.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Thank you.
We had an incident that a lot of our packages scheduled on the server running perfectly fine in the past failed to run all of a sudden. And then I had to download it, the copy of the server and then enter the password for the connection manager again and then upload back, and then the package runs perfectly fine. My question is, what happened? And also whether or not there's a way to save the password, the connection for the connection manager somewhere permanently so that this kind of incident happens.
Okay. So you were saying that, hey, everything is running fine, you didn't change anything, but then when the package, but all of a sudden the package starts to fail, and you have to we enter all the password to the connection manager again before you actually can make everything running again, right?
Correct.
That I don't have any insight just out of this, without looking at it. I didn't hear any similar case, so I don't have a reference to it. So maybe what I can do is I can have a follow-up after the call, and I can try to investigate for you and then see what the issue is about.
Sure. So initially, I had no idea where to look, even because I'm not a DBA. And finally, one of the DBAs told me that it happened to him before. So what he did was just replace the copy that the server is using with a new one, even though didn't change much, but just replace it, and then it'll work. So that's the trick he told me, and it worked. But he said he had no idea what really happened, and also he checked, and there's no upgrade or patches, whatever happened to the engine.
So there's no redeployment, nothing, right?
This is nothing. Just all of a sudden just stop working within half an hour because our package just run well for a few of them running every half an hour. So it's like it happened the 2:30 in the afternoon it worked, and then at 3 o'clock it stopped. So I don't know what happened during that half an hour. And it happened to me again, just for one particular package. I had to redo the same trick in order for the for it to work. And we're using 2012.
2012,
So,
okay.
Yeah, it's
and
not
you're
just
using
one.
project model, right?
Pardon?
Are you using the project model?
I use a file system.
A file system model.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, in that case, that sounds weird to me because if you're using a file system and you're not even using a project model, typically if you move things there, it should be there, right? I mean, there shouldn't be any. And if you don't change it, I can't imagine why it happened. But yet, I think let's take this offline, and then I can work with you and see if we can figure out the root cause. I don't recall anything offhand that kind of close to or similar to this situation. So this is the first time I hear. So let's think into that a little more. Okay.
Okay. Another question is that SSIS on error. If I were write a stored procedure to capture the package error, but when if I choose the system start time and system container start time, I got 1900 February 1st, like the file I sent you.
You mean the file in the email?
Yes. The attached file I sent you. So I'm just wondering how come it doesn't show the real package start time? Instead, it shows 1900.
I need to look at that. I think for any debugging thing, it will probably be better to take it offline.
Okay.
There's a whole bunch of attendees, and it's not going to be a quick call. I mean, to figure out what's the issue, right? So maybe I'll take this time to see if I can answer more general questions, like about the presentation or about something that I can quickly give an answer.
Yeah, there's another one that says what the web service task as shown in SSIS toolbox. Can I be connected to any web services to get data? I posted on the side in the chat window.
Okay.
Yeah, I open Hong's microphone so she can ask the questions directly.
Yeah, hi, it's my question. I'm Hong. Hi, Jimmy. Thanks for your presentation. I just noticed that the web service task in the toolbar, exercise toolbar. I don't know, is this a new thing in 2016 or already there in 2014?
The web services has been there since in the past, so it's not something new. And let me. Oh, I didn't share it anymore, right?
Yeah, I just wondering how can it connect to any kind of web services and get data? How extensible it is?
Okay, so let me bring it up. One.
But you said it's there since.
Let me share my screen again.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't remember seeing that in 2012. Is that already there in 2012?
It's been there for a while. We didn't change this task much. Okay. And if you can you see my screen right now?
Yeah, I can see it. Yeah.
So basically, you provide the connection, you provide the Visto. Like this is a basic web services task where you can trigger where you can basically call a web services call, right? Uh, this is where you can put in some of the parameters for the input, and then you can also get the output out of it. Again, I think it doesn't like for any generic web services call that has Visto, it should be okay to call. There's no like a particular limitation of it. Now, if you need to, but if you are talking about any, fancy authentication type of things, then that may not work. Okay, because we don't have all type of authentication support. But for just calling, like let's say there's a public web services that open, or you just create your own .NET service, web services, right? Maybe you pass in an integer ID, and then it gives you back a string, for example. This you can call it for sure.
So it will just take the HTTP connection and just to put the HTTP URL, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna try this. Thanks.
Mm-hmm. Any other questions?
I think that's it.
Okay. So thank you so much again for everyone meeting with me at this late at night in the North American side. And again, I will follow up on the issues, the on-error issues that the document someone was asking, and offline. Now, at the same time, I would ask Debbie and other folks if you can send me or forward me all the questions and also all the suggestions for SSIS. That would be great, and then I can follow up.
Yeah, sure. Great presentation, Jimmy. Thank you so much for taking the time and share this new feature with us out of your busy schedule. We really appreciated that.
Okay, thank you so much.
To all for attending, and please send your questions or comments to Saturday night SQL at SQLpass.org. And if you have any questions for Jimmy, we'll forward your question to Jimmy, and after he answers it, we'll post it either on our website or send it directly back to you.
And by the way,
thank you so much.
Yeah, and Sarah, and by the way, if everybody have more questions, and then we find out we still need Jimmy to give us the answer or give us the follow-up meeting, we will talk to Jimmy and arrange the other time if possible, and then we will announce next meeting for everybody. And thank you very much for everybody to join our meeting, and thank you, Jimmy, for your great presentation.
Thank you all. You have a good night.
You too.
Thank you. Bye. Bye, everybody. Thank you for attending.
Thank you, Sarah.